7 turn right, heading 185, reduce speed 180 knots.
185 on the heading, 180 on the speed Gulf Air 007.
Speedbird 124, reduce speed 160 knots to 40 me.
Reduce 160 to 4, speed 124.
Hello there guys, Matt here, hope you're all well, and welcome back to X-Plane 11. The last videos that I did in X-Plane 11, you gave me some pretty awesome feedback, so if you were one of those people, thank you very much. I actually did plan on doing a P3D video today, just to kind of split things up, because I have this cult of people that like to follow me, that accuse me of favoriting one sim if I make a video on a sim, and then abandoning the other sim if I don't make videos on the other sim. That's not intentional, it's just the way it goes. Sometimes things release for one platform and not the other, and I kind of try to keep up to date with the latest and greatest, which, speak of the devil, is this thing. This is the FlightFactor A320 Ultimate that was released just yesterday. It was released to 500 people. This is kind of like a paid beta, and then it will be open to the rest of us at a later date. FlightFactor, thankfully, put me on a whitelist, which meant that if I missed the initial 500, I could still buy it, which meant that I could actually make a video on it today. They didn't give it me for free or anything like that. I bought it myself. But they did put me on a whitelist, so take what you will from that. It's really nothing more than just making sure I got a copy, just in case I didn't get it in time. This has been, I guess, hyped for a long time. It's almost going to be directly compared to the FS Labs in P3D, although it's in a completely different platform. But from a systems point of view, it will be. It will be compared directly to the FS Labs. I had a little bit of a tinker yesterday evening with it. I was actually flying from Heathrow to Denver, and then in the cruise this thing released. And I bought it, and I downloaded it, and I just did a couple of circuits at Palm Springs in it just to see what it was like. And I was pleasantly surprised. It is very, very nice. The flight dynamics, or the flight model, fly-by-wire, is really, really good. They've got some really nice quirks in there which are missing from the majority of Airbus sims these days. We're sat on the ground even at LAX, and the actual sunrise at the moment is amazing. I just set it to real time. It's currently 3:15 in the afternoon UK time, which puts it at about 6:15 LAX time, I think, -9. Yeah, I think that's right. And this flight that we're going to do, and I'll explain why we're going to do it in a minute, goes out in just a couple of minutes, to DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth. I was going to do like a review type video of it, but then I figured most of us are going to use this just flying from A to B. So if I fly from A to B, then you can see what it's capable of when you're flying from A to B. I was thinking of doing, like, an in-depth review of all the systems and all the sounds and the modeling and texturing, but I don't think people care about that. I think people just want to know how it flies, flying it in the real world, if you will, flying it from A to B on maybe VATSIM or IVAO or Pilot Edge, and just how it handles and just how you can work it to your advantage, I guess. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to fly from here to DFW. The real flight number, if you want to check the details out on it, is American 2453-2453. And it's actually parked on this stand right now on Flight Radar on 46A Terminal 4 here at LAX, which is, well, as you can see with all the AI traffic, it's where all the American airlines park. So that absolutely makes sense. So I'm going to show you all of the planning that goes into this, and we'll just see if we can make it look decent. We'll see if it holds its own, and hopefully it's something that's going to take X-Plane to a new level, because let's face it, apart from the IXEG and a couple of the GA planes that have recently come out, there isn't really much in the X-Plane world that lives up to, proper in-depth study level systems. I just wish there was more of it, but there isn't. So Anyway, whatever. So, as I said, on the ground here at Terminal 4, and the first thing you'll notice if you watch my 767 video is that I don't have any ground handling available to me. You need to make a like a set for the ground handling stuff. I haven't got around to it yet, and no one else has done it. But from trying to play with this thing yesterday, you can actually do a few cool things inside the aircraft that make, you know, baggage things come up and stairs and stuff come up. So we can do that. The only thing that's really annoying me is if I press, or let's say we go inside the cockpit like this, which looks all well and good. If I then press the button on my joystick to go to the external view, I'm like 500 DME away from the plane, so I have to always scroll back in, and it's the most frustrating thing ever. They're telling me it's nothing to do with the plane, it's actually to do with the version of X-Plane I'm running. It's like a bug with the view system. So every time I change to the outside view, please forgive me if you're trying to squint to see the aircraft, because trust me, that's been me the last 2 days. But anyway, I digress. Into the flight deck. This is your friend. This is the version of an EFB, an electronic flight bag. It is actually quite cool what you can do with it. So we'll just kind of go through page by page, because it kind of makes sense to go in that order. So first thing you want is to put the chocks on. Now bear in mind, you should always really load this cold and dark. If you want to make your own panel states, then go ahead, but I'm just going to do it from cold and dark and just kind of work through it like that. So yeah, chocks are on. A starter unit, I guess, if you had like a failed APU or something like that, but we don't. And then GPU is the next thing to go on there, and you'll hear the sounds will the change as you hear the GPU start to spool up outside. Cool things that they've included, things like window sounds, so you can open the window and you can hear that. There's a difference in audio now the window's open, and of course you can't just close the window by clicking on it again. If you can see, I'm trying to click here. There's no click spot. Well, there is, but it doesn't do anything. There's a little unlock pin here. The FS Labs has this as well, but if you're looking at sort of fidelity of how depth or how deep they've gone, then stuff like this counts. So if you want to close the window again, you have to click this pin, then you can close the window, and then you can hear the sounds go back to it being in a sort of closed environment. So yeah, we've connected the chocks, we've connected the ground power unit, and if you go outside, then you can see that the chocks are connected. In fact, if I press, I didn't mean to press V. Sometimes I hate myself. I was about to show you, because that view is bugged, I was about to show you the chocks close up by pressing C and then doing this. But instead, I pressed V and it disconnected the parking brake, and then the jet bridge went away. And I don't actually know how to get that back, so it looks like we ain't boarding any passengers. But yeah, you can see the chocks, there they are, and then the GPU is here, and that was really all I wanted to show you. So all that, and I broke the air gate. I wonder if I can actually bring it back. If I just double tap V, will it come back? I wonder what the criteria is to just get it back. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, it's just a gate. So, moving across, fuel is essentially what it says on the tin. You can't fuel this plane without calling the fuel truck, so the fuel truck, the model of the fuel truck is like some Russian tank. In fact, I'll just show you. So if we call it across, you'll notice once you call it and it appears, you can set and all that stuff here. But if you look outside now, the size of this thing, in fact, let me go into C mode again. It's absolutely gigantic. Look at the size of that. Sorry if I'm moving a bit too fast for some people. I know in the last video people said that they were getting sick of me moving around, but I don't know how else you expect me to show you these things. Nakin, Pavel Pranov liveries. This thing is almost the length of the bloody plane. But yeah, it hooks up into the underside of the wing there, which is pretty cool. And if you can see as well with the textures and stuff, everything is PBR, so physically based rendering. Basically, if you want plastic to look like plastic or metal to look like metal, that's what PBR is. And you can see, like, on the outer cowling of the engine here, everything looks so nice, and the reflections on the engine cowling and just on the fuselage in general, that's something that X-Plane does really well. In fact, you know, looking at it from sort of that view there, it almost looks like a 787. But anyway, I digress. So, back in the cockpit, we've called the guy. We don't have any weights or anything to load in, so we'll go back to that later. We'll just leave the fuel truck out. And this is what I mean about lack of ground handling. So you can technically do it yourself from here. So for now, we don't have the gate. So what we can do is we can say that the left front is not a gate, it's some stairs, or we can call it. And then what you'll see is actually, what we could do is if we go out back here, out of the door, and then look to the right, although I can't go outside because for some reason FlightFactor decided it would be a great idea to make it so that you couldn't walk through walls, but you can see there that there's the door. And then that's the same for the back as well, so if you want the stairs to come out of the back, then you can. The right hand side, it says you can have stairs. I don't know why you would want stairs on the right hand side of the aircraft. That's usually like catering stuff, so we'll leave that as it is. And then cargo is the same. You can call the front and the back baggage loaders. And if we go outside now and go back to the aircraft and then go back in, you can see now that we have the conveyor belts for the bags. And if we go over this side, we have the doors open and the stairs are in place. So there you go. Whoa, that bus is on some sort of illegal Class A. I don't know what's going on there, but there you go. Anyway, whoa, why is my plane gone all green? That's like the sun reflection in the morning. That's so weird. Anyway, so back into the flight deck. Everything's connected up from this page, so we have ground power, which is fine. If we go to perf data, this I'll talk about later on. It's irrelevant for while we're just sat here. Checklists, if you want to use checklists, you're more than welcome to. You can go through each individual point on the checklist. I don't actually know how you use it. There you go, that's how you use it. I didn't really bother because who needs checklists? They have a browser, so that's pretty cool. You can actually use it, so youtube.com/Matt Davis. Let's see if I can get my channel up. Be pretty funny. Yeah, there you go. And my video starts to play. How wicked is that? You actually have a fully fledged browser, or browser in the aircraft, which is cool because if you go to something like charts.navigraph.com and then you sign in, so my username is Bellins, and I don't know what my password is because it's on 1Password, but essentially you could then use the charts in the aircraft, which is really nice. So that's the browser thing, and of course you could do a lot more. I'm not going to give you any ideas, but there you go. Settings, panel quality I've mine set to high. I have the reflections on, I have the rain effect on. Don't know if we'll get to see that today as the weather is beautiful, but the rain effect on the windscreen is absolutely beautiful. IRS alignment speed, I'm going to change that to 10 times because it takes an absolute day. And I think this is just like panel states or something. There's a map tab for your Google Maps API key. I don't know what that's for, and I don't really care, so I'll probably figure that out another day. So yeah, that's pretty much everything set up from getting it powered up. If you look on the overhead panel now, you'll see that the external power switch is lit. It's in green. That means we can use it. So we literally just press it and everything comes to life. We can put the batteries on, leave all the fuel pumps off as they are. And at this point you could probably just switch on the dome to really bright so you can see everything. But because of the time of day, you might want to mess around with the floodlights and stuff just to make sure that you have good vision. So if you turn off the dome light, then you can see everything, which is pretty sweet. Alright, there we go. Okay, so time to move across to the EFB. Now, not the EFB, sorry, the planning tool, which is PFPX. I don't have a PFPX profile for this thing, so I am just using the one that the FS Labs uses. They're both A320s, they're both CFMs. They both use pretty much the same weights, I would hope. If they don't, then we're going to find that out the hard way. But fingers crossed they do. So if we head across to my display, I'm just trying to make sure I'm on the right one here. There we go. Then we can add an aircraft. So I'll just go to aircraft database. I'll find a Airbus A320, preferably an American one with CFM engines, which is that one. I'll duplicate it like so. I need to find the registration of this plane actually. So the registration of this plane is November 653 Alpha Whiskey. So we'll put that in the tail number. That's all correct. Pounds, feet. That's a good point actually. I have not seen a setting in this aircraft to change it to kilos instead of pounds. I wonder if that's a setting that exists, because that is going to cause some issues. Yeah, you can't. It's all in pounds. It's all in kilograms at the moment. So I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll change this to kilos. Feet is fine, no problem. And we'll save it. Oh, what? We already have it? No way. What? So apparently this aircraft in real life is not a CFM aircraft. It's an IAE aircraft. Yeah, this is what I must have had a Flight Sim Labs A320 that uses that. That's really quite frustrating. Right, I'm just going to change the thing to Alpha X-ray then. This is one of many things I've noticed with this FlightFactor A320. I'll show you something which I think a lot of you will find quite amusing. Just before we carry on, if we go back to the sim, and then we go to the top right here and click the little plane icon, and I click customize on this. It comes with a Ryanair repaint. Just appreciate that. I can't change to it because there's no quick way to change it, but it genuinely comes with a Ryanair repaint. I don't know why. I have no idea why they thought that was a good idea, because it's actually terrible. But yeah, it does. So you can't change it from pounds to kilos, or the other way around. You can't change it from kilos to pounds, which is kind of annoying, but there you go. And we're going from LAX to DFW, which is a 3-hour flight. Hooray. There's the rest of my day written off. Random payload, find destination alternates. Just let PFPX do all this itself. I just want some random figures to use. If it will do that. There we go. And then find route. And that's that. Compute flight. Release flight. Print flight plan. Adobe PDF. Print that. On the way we go. It's done. Because it's X-Plane, I don't really have anywhere to export it, so we can just go back to the sim. Alright, so into the sim, we want to set some weights. So if we go to passengers, and we are setting 124 passengers, so we'll do that, like so, and we are going to press set. And then cargo, we are going to set 4,809 or thereabouts. That'll do. Press set. And then we'll go back to fuel and we will set about 10 tons. So we'll go to 10 and we'll press set. And then once all that's done, you can see it reflect on the ECAM page there. We can basically remove all the ground services. So we're done with the truck, we're done with the stairs, we're done with the cargo, and we can keep the ground power unit on while we turn on the APU, put the seatbelt signs on, put the navigation lights on, and that's really it. We'll keep the fuel pumps. Actually, we could turn them on now because we've loaded the fuel, so it doesn't really matter. And what we can do is we can align the IRSs like so. Head down to the McDo. Go to init, And then we're going from LAX to KDFW. Return. Flight number is American 2453. We are going flight level 350, cost index, I don't know, I'm just going to go 20. We're going to align the IRS, go to init B, weight request. There's a 0 fuel weight in the block, which is what we had from before. And we can go to the performance page. Actually, we can't really do anything while the IRSs are still aligning, but once all that's all done, which it just has, as I said that, we can go and see what our speeds are. First of all, we can actually put the departure in, which is going to be off 25 right, and it's going to be the loop departure, so that's in there. And then we're going to go LAX direct Papa Kilo Echo. And then from there, we're picking up an airway, which is the Juliet 74 to a place called Nabob. And then the Juliet 231 to Sierra Juliet November. And then the Juliet 74 to Tango X-Ray Oscar. And then the Juliet 72 to Yun, or Turkey. And then the arrival into DFW, which we'll stick in later on. So that's pretty simple. Go back to the perf page. Transition altitude is 18k. So we should be able to just put 18. No, we can't, can we? Because it's not Boeing. 18,000. Thrust reduction acceleration is fine. Flaps 1/0.5 up. And we can flex to 55 degrees. And that'll give us 139,143. And then we can just throw 139 in V1. Don't know why it gives you VR and V2, it doesn't give you V1, but they're normally about the same, give or take. So we can just chuck that in. Alright, so that's done. APU can now start. And that is pretty much everything set up, apart from the autopilot stuff. So we'll just set that to 5k. Flight directors are on, both of them. I did incur a bug yesterday where if I took the flight director out and then tried to re-enable the flight director before departure, it would break the flight director, and then I could not have the flight director back, so I'm not touching it. But all the FMAs are correct, so it's fine. Right, what else is there? Weather here. Let's have a look at the pressure settings on my PFPX. So wind is calm, altimeter is 3000, so we'll just set that here and then here. They should probably sync. Yes, they do. Good stuff. APU's on. We can disconnect the external power, which means we can also disconnect the ground power, and the chocks can stay. Actually, they can go, because we are now going to use the parking brake, and also we're going to use the better pushback plugin. So plugins, better pushback, we're going to pre-plan this. We are going to just do a really simple pushback, which is going to be just out to about here. It's about there, isn't it? Yeah, give or take. So click that, press enter, and then we want to start pushback.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
And we'll look out of the wing. Now this is the best wing views I can do for you, because again, they make it so that you can't go through the walls. So if I go to the window, that's literally as far forward as it will let me go. So that's what you're stuck for wing views, I'm afraid. Alright, beacon light can come on. Everything else looks fine. We'll have a look at the external view. See the pushback tug coming now. And if we go to the tug view, which is always my favourite view, and turn it the other way around, that is a beautiful view. You know what? That's a thumbnail in itself, that. Wow.
Okay, all doors and hatches
That is so nice. Right, so it's going to connect to the nose gear and then lift us into the air. The reflections off the look here, you can see the reflections of the tug beacon. Pretty cool. And look at all the modelling as well in the landing gear, all the springs and stuff. They really have done quite an excellent job. There it is, lifting it up.
So connected and flight path been inserted. Release parking brake.
Alright, parking brake released.
Start pushback. And you may start engine.
Just as a baggage cart zooms past. I really wish I could drive this tug myself. I'd have so much fun. I'd have a serious amount of fun. There he goes. Alright, so on the push we can start the engines. We've got the bleed, that's all we need. That rhymed, didn't mean to, but whatever. Turn the starter to start and we'll fire up engine number 1. And then we'll look down here. We'll see that the N2 is rising. You should get an auto on the ignition, which should come very soon. There it is. Or an A, I don't actually know if that stands for auto, but it makes sense if it does. And then engine 1 will fire up. Now, I have to admit, the sounds on this are a little bit underwhelming. You can't really hear it fire up. It's like, it's very, very quiet. Like, that's the engine started, right? Oh no, it's not. I take that back. It's almost started. Got a little bit more to go. The pushback guys are having fun by the looks of things.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Alright, that's the engine started. So we can start engine number 2. And while we're doing that, we can just set up the transponder. So clear the numbers out. Do that again because I'm bad. 2000 on 1 auto all TA. We can just do TA for now. We'll do TAR. Actually, you know what? Screw it. We'll just go TARA. Disconnect hand signals. So he's on the way out. But yeah, the engines, just the sounds for the engines just could do it with a little bit more refinement. There's nothing that makes me go, oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, that's engine number 2 up and running.
So it's disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and
Sweet.
have a safe flight.
Thank you very much, pushback peeps, ground peeps. I don't actually know what the real name is, but there you go. Alright, that's 2 good engine starts, so we can flick the ignition back to normal and we can turn off the APU like so. We can put on the taxi light and the turn off light, and we'll put the flaps down. I'll show you the flap animation because it is actually quite nice. So we're just using 1 stage of flap for takeoff. So if I press number 1, or sorry, number 2, there you go. That sounds pretty nice. And if I do a flight control check at the same time, you can see everything moving. Looks pretty sweet. And there's a flight control check done. We just need to make sure that the pitch trim is up to 0.5, which it is. Is that 0.6? There you go, 0.5. And we're ready to taxi out. So we're off to 25 right, which is straight ahead, and then left. So I'll release the parking brakes, which are now released. Bit of power goes a long way in this thing. There you go, we're already moving. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alright. So, as we taxi out, a few things we can do. On the speed brake, which is done by number 3. And then we can make sure that the takeoff config is reading no blue, which it'll kind of self-test in a minute, but it's not quite ready for that yet. Look at the wing flex, pretty sweet. So I was viewing on stream last night. Someone said it looks a little bit artificial. I kind of agree a little bit. It does seem to be a bit over dramatized, but there you go. Auto brakes to max. We're just doing these items now. And the last thing is the memo to go to normal. I don't know why I just slowed all the way down on that corner though. It was pretty weird. Had so much momentum and then it just went to absolute crap. There we go. Alright. So 25 right is this runway here, the parallel to where we're taxiing. How much power do you need? Come on. There we go. There's this is the LAX scenery from Mr. X, and I was looking on the xplane.org site before for some more LAX scenery, and I found some LAX scenery which was made in the summer of this year, but it looks so bad, and this is from like 3 years ago, so I'm just gonna stick with this one because screw paying for something if it's bad. It's not worth it. Alright, so we're just approaching the end of 25 right, so we'll get everything set, put all the landing lights on, the nose light to take off, and we'll be able to see the strobe there just beaming off the ground. Looks pretty cool. Around to the right we go. And there is runway 25 right in all of its glory. LAX is such a beautiful airport. Let's hope I nail the center line. I'll take that. Alright. We'll do what they call it, a standing takeoff, I think. Or you don't let it roll. Okay. We are set. Transponders on. Everything is on. They don't have a weather radar that's modeled, sadly, so can't actually do anything with that. All the lights are on. Everything else is good to go, and we can start the clock. Power's coming in. There's about 50% stable. There's Manflex 55 SRS, runway, and auto thrusters blue. That's exactly what you want to see. Now, this is what I mean about the engines being very underwhelming. You really can't hear them. There's 100 knots. And then there's V1 or rotate. Positive rate, gear up with a tap on the brakes. I've literally let go of the controls and it's flying in a straight line. And that is what you want. That is really what you want out of this. The whole problem with Airbus simulations is that they don't get the fly-by-wire right. And this feels very good considering what we're used to with, you know, previous Airbus add-ons and X-Plane. It's crap. Or the previous add-ons are crap even. This is not. It's very good. So, climb power coming in. So just knock it back to that gate there. Ish. Where's the gate? I'll get it. There it is. Alright, autopilot coming in. We can just fly this heading for the moment, which is 250-ish. And we're going past flat retraction speed, so we will put the flaps up, like so. Thought the autopilot just disconnected then, but it didn't. And there is LA. It's so nice. See if you can see anything down there. Look at that. It's so cool. Alright, so there's nothing in the way. We can disarm the spoilers and we can make a left-hand turn back around on ourselves. Maybe 150-ish. We'll climb up to flight level 350 and we'll put it into, if I can find it, open climb, which is already in. There we go. Now as we look outside from the left of the window, I wish you could see it properly, but I'm trying to like go down further in my seat. There you go. Look at that for a view. My god, that is amazing. That's so cool. This in VR would look amazing. Once they fix VR and the resolution, you'll never want anything else. You'll just use this all the time in VR. Probably get a really nice view from back here. Yeah, look at that. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love X-Plane. I wish that you could get this sort of LOD in P3D with all of these lights. Like, I really wish, because the amount of stuff it would change is just insane. I wish I could get the lights going on a little bit further out, because they kind of stop here, but apparently there's a script for that, so I'll have a look at that one day. Anyway, I'm just going to turn all the lights off now, because we really don't need them. And we will go direct to LAX, back over the top. It should enunciate, which it has. And then we'll be going back across to LA. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There's LA there. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go direct to LA, that's a bad idea. I'll go direct to Papa Kilo Echo, which will straighten up that view, or that routing even. And then we'll go in a straight line and we'll fly straight past LA, which is actually better in my opinion, because we don't have to go back over the top of it. See the mountains in the distance? It's like Van Nuys area over that way. Amazing. So that concludes part number 1 of the FlightFactor FlightFactor Airbus flight even to DFW. These longer flights, I really can't do the whole full flight in one part, because number one, it takes an absolute decade to render and it takes an absolute decade to upload. And I haven't really found a way of making my flights so short that I can fit them into 10 minutes, and I don't think you'd be appreciative of 10-minute full flights anyway, so this is how it has to be. So if you come back for the second part, which I hope you do, then thanks for the support. If you've seen enough already, then let me know what you think. Let me know what you think as far as this in X-Plane goes. Of course, there is a lot more to explore with it. This is just basics of how it works. But I think as a first attempt of making something that is sort of study level in quotes, It really is quite nice. It's pretty decent. If you've managed to get hold of it already, then let me know what you think about it. If you haven't and you want to get hold of it, I don't know when they're releasing it for the public to grab hold of infinite copies, but it shouldn't be too long, I would hope. But yeah, that's it. That's the end of part 1. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in part 2. And until then, take care. Bye bye.